And we have Corey and Greg from Fortunate Youth joining us to talk about Love for the Music, which is out now. New record. It's got to be an exciting time for you guys. Like we were just talking a couple seconds ago, but the actual recording process and building these songs out takes such a long time, and now it's finally here that you get to share it with the fan base.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're excited. We're stoked. Thanks for having us. Thanks for taking the time, and appreciate everybody, all the support. We're excited to share the new album with everyone.
Yeah, I can't wait for people to hear the rest of the songs. I know we've dropped like 4 singles and we've gotten a good response. So, my view on this album is, there's a song for everyone. So I can't wait for everyone to hear it.
The one thing that jumps out to me about this record is like this record's got soul, and I don't think like enough of like some of the reggae records that are coming out. You have all these people like mixing different genres and stuff, but like I don't know, this record just like speaks to that like classic soul vibe that I love about it.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I think for us, we all have like a lot of different musical influences, and like Corey said, kind of the goal is making music for everyone, and world music in the style. So it's cool to try different things out. I think this one is definitely different than a lot of the other albums, and yeah, we try to blend some of that, like you said, soul, blues. We have some, with the horns. We've been able to expand on some different styles, and have some even kind of ska, and yeah, all different stuff that we like to incorporate, and it's been a fun experience on this album for sure.
Yeah, and I think that soul feeling that I hear you talk about that I get from this album is, like outside of the music. I mean, dude, we've made like 6 albums. I personally think this is probably one of Dan's best vocal performances on an album, and it really, that soul comes out when he's singing. And singing in the studio, if you've seen us live, you get that feeling on stage from all of us. We're trying to like convey the energy that we have, right? And sometimes it's hard to do that in the studio, but I think with this album, we all really did that. We recorded some of the stuff just more in organic settings, like right here in my house at my garage. Dan went to a very comfortable place where he recorded vocals down at Conatown Recording. So like the vibe of those days really translated into what the end song was, and like it's cool that you could feel that, because that's what I feel from it. It's just like we got to just kind of make music and capture that moment, and it was very soulful. I know it was a release for me, so that's cool that you could hear it.
Yeah, vocally, and interesting you bring that up, but like I do think that Dan's at the top of his game with this release. Like you can truly feel the soul and the power of his vocals throughout the record.
Yes. And he had a lot of great support too. Like we have our buddy Ryan Gonzalez, who plays with Tribal Seeds, who was an original member of Fortune Youth. He did all the harmonies for this album. Him and Greg arranged them, and like that, that supporting cast to those vocals, especially on the harmony sense, really emphasizes like the quality of what was done. And we had a great mix engineer for this album. We used our buddy James Bonsai Caruso, who's done a bunch of good albums. He's even done a handful of great albums recently. I know he just did the Movement album. I think he did Tribal Seeds last release. And like, it's really a team effort to get just that feel. And I think we're all really happy with how the album came out in that sense. Right, Greg?
Yeah, definitely. I think it was awesome to work with Bonsai, and Corey had a lot to do with hands on the mouse, like we would say, with a lot of editing and engineering. And yeah, it was a fun process. We've done it different ways over the years, and this was a new process, but I think it was a great learning process for us. And yeah, lots of fun. Lots of hours, but we're
Yes.
excited. We're excited for the product to finally be out there for everyone.
And to Greg's point, I like to say that my title was file manager. I had to send a lot of emails and transfer a lot of files.
I think we have Dan joining us. So hang on one second.
Oh, if you can get 3 in. Oh,
yeah, we got
dude.
3 in. So.
Whoa, bro.
Hello.
We're all surprised on this one.
Hey.
What up, dude?
Cheers, everyone. And
Hey, how you doing,
congratulations.
brother?
Dude, it's like you heard us complimenting your vocals for this album, and next thing you know, he's in the waiting room, right?
Hey, I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, no, he just mentioned how much soul was like he felt from listening to the album, and I was like, dude, I truthfully think that like Dan's this is some of the best vocals I've ever heard Dan do. There's a great supporting cast of people, from Gonzo doing the harmonies to a great mix engineer like Bonsai. Like ultimately, like I think that's where the soul came out, right? Is that process of what we did. I know you were happy to be recording at Kona Town with our buddy
Jeff
Jeff.
Bates.
Yeah, so that's
And
where we
Jeff
were just
Bates,
left
yeah.
off when you hopped in. It's like you
Oh,
heard us.
beautiful. Well said.
Yeah, I was saying just before you jumped on, but I really think that with this record, you're at the top of your game, and you really elevated it, and like the you can feel the power of your vocals and the soul in it. It definitely comes out in the music. It comes to the forefront that you feel it. So
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you and all your kind words. I believe it was awesome, and it was a group effort. Thank you, though.
so diving into the record a little bit more. You guys recorded it at Kona Town. What was that experience like, and what is it about that studio that's sort of so special that like you're able to tap into things?
Yeah, and the cool part about this album is we actually recorded in several different spaces, right? And ultimately, like it was kind of like we all picked where we felt the most comfortable, right? I know we did like a majority of the bass tracking of like drums, bass, and guitar, and piano down at Total Access Recording in Redondo. And it's funny because that little spot in Redondo Beach, there's just a row of two or three studios that are just great, and there's a lot of great musicians in those areas, right? And like from Pennywise having their own personal studio and working around the corner, we rehearsed right there. So like the foundation was done at Total Access Recording with Steve Ornest, and Win is the owner. He's a great guy. He helped us with the last album. And then it was kind of that question all around, like, where do you want to record? Dan, you chose Kona Town, and I think you could speak on that, from your experiences there as to why you chose Kona for your vocals, and what about it really brought you there.
Oh, perfect. No, it was just the community and vibes. I lived in Redondo for 30 years from Mississippi, and being in that little place, in that room, has so much history. It's kind of liberating and inspiring all at the same time. No matter who's really behind the board, we've been doing Lou at 17th for a long, long, long time, and this was just literally down the street, and something to be proud of. To go record, make magic happen where magic has happened so many times before, and the highlight is your kids can be there to drop off lunch. You know. So it's pretty cool. It's down home and everything it should be. That's probably why the music was so soulful and the best it's been vocally, because it's you taken away a lot of stress factors and layers. Not that you need a closed studio or anything, but whenever the neighborhood's coming in because they know you're in, kind of takes away this essence that you tried to grab deep inside you and to put out and to see what happens. So it was a good experience for that studio for me, and shout outs to the boys and such.
You
No, go for it.
I was just going to say, we talked about all the different elements of this record, but Southern California is sort of a melting pot, and you have so many different sounds that came out of that place, like musically, punk rock, the reggae movement down there, like all these different things. I'm sure it's easy to draw influence from and inspiration from all those different musical styles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're totally right. Like Corey mentioned, Total Access. Both those spots, a lot of great history. You walk into Total Access, see a lot of records that we grew up on in this area that represent the Southern California music scene. And anywhere from that, the history of that studio with Guns N' Roses to, Black Flag and Minor Threat and, Sublime self-titled record, and a lot of great works there. And then, as they were talking about Kona Town, shout out to the Pepper guys and, Pennywise and everybody that's had great experiences there. So yeah, we've just tried to carry the torch of, South Bay music community, and Southern California, and it was, yeah, a lot of great influences there, and fun to do. Kind of the tour, so to speak, of different studios, and then finishing up at Corey's house, which is a new destination on the studio tour map. Out in Lakewood. So it was awesome to be able to take different focus points, like Corey said, the first parts of the album and Total Access, doing some overdubbing of different instruments at Corey's house, and then coming back for vocals at Conatown. It was a fun process and a cool community.
Yeah, I think Dan's note on the recording process for that at-home feeling is kind of like what we did, right? Like Dan felt at home at Conatown, so that's where he did that. I felt at home at my house. We did some keyboards and some guitar overdubs here with Greg. Our horn players, John has a studio out in New Jersey, and they cut all their horns out at his studio at Chromatic Studios. Gonzo did all his harmonies at his house. As much as we were all in different locations, we were all in very comfortable locations, and like you said, with that soul, it all just kind of translated into this album.
So diving into the record, obviously you have a love for the music. What was it about that song that made it the perfect title for the record?
Oh man, I think, yeah, it's music brings us together. I think that was kind of the key factor there. Awesome to have our great friend Kumar, and connection from over here, and him in Jamaica, and I think the music has traveled worldwide. The influence of that style for us, has been huge, and being a part of the reggae community, and the world music community. So I think for us, as we travel and get to meet a lot of great people, and learn about different influences in music, I think that's kind of the key theme that we felt represented the album. All the differences, kind of, you said, like different styles built within the one album. We kind of think that music is that gift that has brought us all together, from all over the world.
I think that message of music, bringing us all together is important in today's political climate, where everything seems to be a reminder of the 1% of things that people don't agree on, rather than the 99% that they do agree on.
100%, and like ultimately, music's a great place, because regardless of what's going on in the world, it's, like, you see it for what it is. It means what it means to you. And you can, you find that camaraderie and just that community with the people who enjoy the same music as you, or just enjoy the release of listening to music, and kind of piggybacking on Greg, like ultimately it is also kind of like a dedication to our people who've supported us over the years, right? Like music brings us together, and we're still doing what we're doing because of the community that it's brought together, whether it's around Fortunate Youth, whether it's around the reggae music, whether it's just around music in general.
Yeah,
it's such a powerful message, though, and it's like, at this stage in your career as well, I'm sure like you've gotten to see your fans as you they get a little bit older. Now they're bringing their kids to shows. It's like a family atmosphere. It sort of brings everything full circle.
Yeah, you're totally right. It's been great to see all the families, and sometimes you come back after a couple of years and you're like, wait a minute, you're a teenager now, a college student. We remember when you were, kind of a youngster, and seeing the whole family kind of grow up with us, in our families. It's an awesome thing.
At this stage in your career, how do you approach a new record with regards to, like, how do you bring together the classic sound at the same time trying to elevate it or take it to the next level without becoming stagnant?
I mean, my quick note on it is, like, I think we approach albums differently every time. Like, kind of like, I know we took a long-winded approach to just like the at-home feeling, but ultimately, like, I don't think we've made an album the same way each time. It's always a different approach. And it's an organic approach. It's never like we're forcing something different. This was a big leap for us to, like I said, like, switch studios, record stuff at home, have people do other stuff in different areas, work with a mix engineer, work with an outside mastering engineer. Ultimately, like, our goal is to try to not make the same song twice. And, you know, you can't always get away from what your style is. But like, I think it's just the approach of like, hey, like we're doing something new. And we've done that on every album. Usually reflects in the name of the title, you know, like it's all a jam. We had recorded several sessions in like 5 or 6 different spaces. And then we ended up meshing the songs together to come up with that album. You know, Irie State of Mind, it was just, we had played all those songs live because we were a live band before we recorded albums. So we kind of just brought that live feel into that, you know. Don't Think Twice was kind of like, hey, just do it. It was that we did that album like 2 weeks. Like, I think it was just like, don't think twice, man. If it feels good, that was good, you know. So yeah, I mean, ultimately it's kind of just the set and setting and then what comes out of it, you know. I don't think we overthink it too much, really. Or maybe we think way too much about it. I don't know.
A lot of veteran artists are saying that the album format is dead and that like, you know, they're opting out of, in favor of releasing singles instead of albums. Why is it important to you that Fortunate Youth continue to release albums?
I wish Jared was on here for this one.
Oh man, yeah, we're definitely old school in that way, and we still look at it as a, you know, one piece of art, you know, as the album kind of combines a lot of, like you said, a lot of different styles, you know, with each song has a different feel, has a different vibe. You know, we still, you know, appreciate and love the free, you know, new songs coming out often, and that single, you know, mentality, because I think a lot of people have put out a lot of great singles, you know, in this period of time. And for us, we still try to hold true to what, you know, we used to listen to a record in whole, and there's like a little bit of a story that's told, I think, throughout the whole record. So I think there's something that we nostalgically naturally kind of like cling to. But yeah, I think we kind of look at it as like an overall story book that, you know, the album holds a lot of different feelings and stories within, you know, all the songs coming together.
Go
Go
for
Dan.
it, Dan.
Yeah, I think most importantly, each album, you know, you're lucky to have an album. You can make singles all day, you know, bands do, but I think Fortunate Youth is more of a catalog of a overall vibe. You know, when you put on Sublime, start to finish, no matter what album, Robin the Hood or whatever, it's an overall, like, you know who it is, and you just went through the coolest day, you know, and coming to Fortunate Youth. This will be the 5th album, I believe, full length album.
I've lost
If
track.
not,
Could be 6, could be 7. Who knows?
I think it's the 5th, but it could be 6th. You know, we have other albums that are, you know, share that vibe, but it's 100 and something tracks of awesomeness if you put it all together and let them go. You know, so is it the question of the whole album, or is it a question of like their whole catalog? Because, you know, this is just an added to the catalog to me, and the vibe that Fortune Youth brings is just none other. You know, so.
I
I'm stoked to be part of the album and to have the world be part of the albums to share and to hold and to make their life of positive vibes.
Yeah, and I don't want to add too much to it, but you guys both crushed it on that. And I think from what you said, Dan, it also makes me think like with an album, right? Like with a single, the song kind of has to stand alone, right? With an album, it's like each song supports each song, even when it comes to the order in which the songs show up on that album. You know, I mean, we're also big fans of like we have an interlude on this album. You know, not a lot of people are going to just put an instrumental song in the middle of an album, but it fits the space and it creates the segue to the next song. So like singles are great, and I respect people who drop singles because it's like that thing's standing alone. If you know, yeah, it's got to do its thing, and there's no support from the next song. With an album, it's like, hey, each song supports the next song, and there's a reason it's in its order. We don't do concept albums, but after we finish some songs, normally we do like 14 or 16 songs, and we'll find which ones kind of fit that idea or concept. And ultimately, like we're a band, right? So like we support ourselves and each other in the recording process. So like each song is maybe a reflection from someone else's contribution, right? You know, this song started here with this person and their contribution here. This song started here with this person and their contribution here. And it's kind of just a hodgepodge of like what we got to bring to the table in the time period we do it.
And most importantly, you can't get any Grammys besides album. You know, you can't get any Grammys besides reggae album. There's not single or male or female or anything. But that's a whole nother interview. You know, but
Well, we'll dive into
let's
that
go
at a later
Grammys.
time. Definitely up for consideration. So, but it's
really
interesting that you bring up the interlude, because I definitely think as a cohesive and you know, collectively as the record, it takes you on a journey. And like you know, that song, you know, the interlude by itself, it can be definitely enjoyed as a great track. But like, I feel like it's like part of a larger puzzle, and when you put it all together, it takes you on a journey from start to finish.
Yeah, I'm sure someone on Spotify will be like, what's this song? You know, like not listening to it in context of the album, you just get Fortune Youth D minor interlude randomly on a playlist, and it's like, where did that fit in? But then if you go listen to the whole album, you're like, oh, okay, I get it now. It makes sense, you know?
So like diving into that, like you brought up a good point, but like, so I know artists are starting to pay more attention to like things like algorithms and things like that. Artistically, do you have to sort of block that out when you're creating and just let yourself be creative and find whatever you know, muse you connect with?
I mean, it's hard not to think about. I personally think about it like after the fact. Like I'm not thinking about how a song's gonna translate to people's playlist or
you got to come original.
Yeah, I think you were just making a song, and you know, and on this album also, you know, like we went back to the world of a self-release. Like that was, you know, last album we got to use our management's what's it called, label services company, who did a great job with Good Times Roll On. Also, like this is my new favorite album. Maybe every album we make becomes my favorite album that we make, but
and it's good.
You know, and this album, like I said, like we did a self-release and we had a lot of great help from our management, and you know, we all stepped up and brought our A game, and like we had to think about that after. But in the process of making the song, you know, like I'm not over there thinking about what's going to hit the algorithm. It's just a matter of what feels good at the time we're doing it, you know. That's my outlook on it. My perception on music sometimes, especially with like hooks, is like you don't want it to be cheesy, but like if it's borderline cheesy, you're probably in the right spot.
You can't
you mentioned releasing
cheese.
This record.
Sorry, I was saying you can't have too much
have to
cheese.
have the right
you have
amount.
a little cheese, just a little cheese, you know, or be over cheese, you know.
Yeah.
You know. Go ahead.
You mentioned this record's coming out with through your own label with distribution through Symphonic. Can you tell us about that decision to go with your own label versus like the traditional label deal, or like you know, a sub distribution deal through many of the other labels that are out there?
I mean, quick summary for me is the same note on the recording process. Like it was the at-home vibes. We just figured just take it all the way home at home.
After 15 years, 5 albums, you know, you've learned a lot of bad tricks, and you're you know, just trying to find some new ones. And you know, having colleagues is way better than having a boss. You know, having people you can work with is, you know, and having experience in releasing music in, you know, the whole ball game of this 15-16 year venture. You know, we're not the you know, we're ready to do it, you know, ready to conquer this achievement. And coming from where we recorded it and who we are, it's a DIY Fortunate Youth Go Team kind of. Oh.
And the cool part about the scene we're in is like, you know, well, cool part about music in general right now is there's just a lot of great companies that provide distribution, like that do a great job. And Symphonic, as you can see, like does a great job. And the fact that like DIY bands have access to that nowadays, it's like kind of hard not to want to use it or participate in it, you know. And then like ultimately on the same sense of Dan's, like, you know, regardless of who we may have worked with over the years, like the cool part is we built those relationships with those people. And even in this process, us doing it with us and our manager, Jared, and a few other people, like they've been very supportive, and they're still there to lean on when we have questions, you know. And I think that's the coolest part about what we do in this scene is like, you know, no one's like really trying to hold like a hard line on you. If you need help and you want to talk about something, like we're all here to share this information so everyone can do the best they can do. Like, I don't look at it very competitively. I look at it like, hey, like how can I get, you know, You know, dude, there's 4 bands who are dropping their albums on the same day as us, man, and I love all of those bands, from Aurora Wave to our boys Eureka Sound. You know, like it's there's so much music for people to listen to, and like it's just awesome to just be doing it like we are on this one, and
It's been
I
a
think
good year of releases too from all of our bands and
yeah,
friends and stuff. So it's
and,
been.
and I
I'm
think
glad to be part of the team. You know.
And Greg can probably speak on this note too. Like, hey, and going back to the self-release, like I think Greg can note that our goal in the future is to hopefully help other bands that we love and appreciate release albums.
Yeah, it's been, like you said, it's a good community. We like to support each other. We've had a lot of support over the years. A lot of learning goes along the way. And, like both of you guys said, we just try to take in the lessons. And, for this one, like you said, we've always kind of been a DIY group that likes to try our best to, you know, learn, improve, and see what we can do as a unit. And yeah, how we can communicate with everybody else in the community, and be a part of it. So yeah, it takes a village, and for us, yeah, we like to learn from our experiences and see how we can help others. So definitely a cool experience. Each time's a little different. You take on some different new roles, and yeah, we're excited to kind of launch our label, and utilize a lot of that kind of catalog that we have, and put it out to the world in different ways. So, we appreciate the whole community behind it.
So the goal being the maybe one day to open the door for somebody else and like release something else, like another artist through your label.
Yeah, definitely. I think as we learn and we figure out what's served us, some teachable moments even for ourselves. It's kind of like Corey said, as everybody's working through the calendar year and their projects, it's nice to be able to collaborate and share what we learn, and then come together. And yeah, like Corey said, like we're all releasing around the same time. Everyone's cheering each other on the new art that they're putting out, and happy to be a part of it or assist in anybody's journey.
That's the thing I love about the reggae scene, is like everybody just seems to want to work together and help each other win. Whereas like other styles of music, it's a lot more competitive, like you said. But it just seems like everybody is if your friends win, you're happy for them just as much as you're happy when you win.
Yep,
100%.
definitely.
Go team.
So then this record, talking about it as a whole, I feel like when we're talking about like Aurora Wave and bands like that, there's a lot of styles being mixed. There's Little Strangers doing the hip hop thing, Aurora Wave's like mixing metal and stuff. I definitely think that you guys are sort of a 180 to that in terms of like flipping the script and going more to like a traditional reggae sound and like vibe with this record.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's got their own style and formula, and like it's ever evolving. And sometimes albums go, like for us, I know like our self-titled album went more of a reach out to just incorporating other genres that we listen to. But like I know when we make music, I kind of think of it like the same foundational things. There's drums, there's bass, there's percussion, there's a piano, there's an organ, and there's some guitar and a solid set of vocals. Luckily, the last couple albums we've been able to, our horn section's been playing with us for the past, I want to say 7 or 8 years. And we've been able to incorporate that to add like melodic textures and stuff like that. And that's kind of like where we've evolved. But yeah, I mean, dude, I think we all really got into this loving Southern California reggae music. And like, I know I love roots reggae music. I know that a handful of us love roots reggae music, so like ultimately, it's like, I think of that just no matter what we're doing, that foundation of that kind of cuts through. And then you got someone like Dan, who's just like, dude, Dan, you got your own inspirations from what you've sang, and like your vocals are not even reggae vocals. It's just you know what I mean? And I think that's where some of that uniqueness comes in, outside of like, oh, you guys like make reggae rhythms and like it's straightforward. It's like, well, I mean, there's the depth of the vocals. And then like, I know me, I personally love soul and R&B music. And, luckily I've been able to insert stuff like that on albums, from like the song Things, or like our intro for Don't Think Twice. Some of these songs don't even start out as reggae songs. We just translate them into reggae songs eventually. But yeah, Any of you guys? Sorry, I go so deep when
I love it,
yeah.
Corey.
No,
Well
you're
spoken.
correct. You're correct. You know, like all the styles, it's a fun process. You know, and like you said, you know, the love for the foundation of reggae and kind of this community that supports this style. I feel like that's what you know has been an easy thing to gravitate to, is that we can bring all these styles. It's an open canvas in the reggae genre that you can put your twist on it, kind of like both you guys were saying. Different bands do it different ways, but you know, you get to see the personality that comes out and what influences people and how they creatively put a twist on it.
Yeah, and truthfully, just back to the original question statement, like, hey, little stranger, if you guys are watching this, we got some hip hop tunes. We would love to do a track with you guys.
Yeah, we love the community.
Breaking news.
Yeah, and luckily we've already done a track with Nathan. You know, Nathan crushes it, man. Like, he's been on his journey, and like, you know, his evolution of music and incorporation of the music he loves to doing Aurora Wave is awesome. And those guys live are very solid, man. There's a lot of the musicians that are playing with them right now in that band. Like, you know, we've known Ray from the old Sons of Motion days, and you know, Tanner's a great drummer, and like, you know, their music translates live great as well as it does on the his recordings.
Shout out. Roar Wave.
So the record's out tomorrow. What do you hope people take away from it? You know, how quickly do you get that feedback? Like, are you in the comments reading it? Like, I know it's, as an artist, like that's a difficult thing to do sometimes, but
Oh, it's actually funny. This call got interrupted twice since we've been on it. I've gotten a couple messages of either a phone call or a text. So it sounds like people are already out listening to you know, parts of it. It comes out tonight, but I think, you know, some people have been just vibing on the singles that have already come out. And yeah, I mean, it's
I've
go
got
for it.
nothing but good vibes. I
And
mean,
if
we've
you
never
ordered the
had the
vinyl,
physical in our
Yep.
hands right now.
yeah,
This is
we
Corey, big job, management, big job, whoever and everyone, big job, because that
we
is a hard
Thanks.
task.
yeah
Ladies
we
and gentlemen, this is
we did
hard.
our best to, you know, like, we love to just anyone who's willing to support, because nowadays all music is very like digital and streaming services and all that, and like, we're a big proponent, like vinyl, we love it, and like it's very supportive to our ecosystem of how we function. So like, this album, you know, we did our best to, dude, if you ordered that vinyl, you're listening to the album before it even came out, you know what I mean?
That is unheard of. That is so like, it's got
So
to be like the smallest percentages of like the top bands with the biggest label and like all that shit. Like that is hard to do. I just want to
so
say high five.
We
That
got
is
to
good.
reward the early birds, you know, everybody that came out and pre-ordered it. The goal was, if you can get it before release day, and the mail system serves us on that endeavor. So it's awesome to hear that some people have already received the album and are spinning it, you know, kind of on release date. So
yeah, and
pretty
I
cool.
think that's where some of those early messages are coming for Greg, where it's like, hey, dude, listen to this album. This is my favorite song. You're like, that song's not even out yet. And you're like, oh, you must have got the vinyl, you know? So shout out to anyone who got the vinyl. And, you know, to your question also, like, hey, if you're commenting on YouTube, dude, I'm probably in there trolling you, sending some messages back and forth. With big shout out to all the Fortunate Fools on Facebook. I mean, you guys are such a supportive community to what we do. There's a lot of core fans on there that literally, you know, I don't even want to call them fans. They're just friends, you know, like most of them are probably texting Greg. They have Greg's number, you know, we see them when we come to their city. We got our tour coming up, Love for the Music Tour with Bumpin' Uglies and Josh Heinrichs, to support this album. We tried to give enough leeway on the release so people could learn the choruses when we get out there, because we're such a sing-along band, you know, like sometimes it's weird to play new music and someone's like, well, I haven't heard the song. And we're like, well, yeah, we could tell you're not singing along. We want you to sing along. So if you guys listen to this album, learn the choruses, come to a show, sing along. Dan's
Be
going to
prepared, students.
Dan's going to point the mic at you. I'm going to record the set. I'll have a crowd mic out there. I want to hear you yelling, Love for the Music Brings Us Together, or Music Brings Us Together, or Hot, Hot Summer.
Or tell me.
Well, they haven't heard that one yet, man.
I know, but it's on the set list, and I can't wait to hear him sing along. This is I'm giving hints.
I like how we're plugging our album and our tour. So yeah, make sure you guys go.
When's the tour? Wait, when's the tour start?
I believe it starts September 17th. We got 3.5 weeks on the West Coast, We got 4 weeks on the East Coast, hitting it big in Florida at the end of the year. We also have a show starting off this tour in LA for all the hometown people.
September 13th.
Yeah,
There we go.
Hey.
And yeah, we're excited to make our trip around the the country with this new music, and appreciate all the support. So yeah, if you're out there and you haven't checked the tour dates, make sure to go check them out, and hopefully we'll get to come play some new music for you.
All right,
Check out
James.
the VIP. We got
Yeah,
the
sorry, we're done with
one
the hard
VIP.
plugs, James. Sorry. VIP is the last one.
Well,
good
thanks
stuff.
for joining us. I appreciate this, and it definitely. I do think you guys made a great record, and to tie it into the vinyl, like
Thanks,
I definitely think there's an experience there, like with holding something tangible and like sort of experiencing a record. So I definitely think that the fans out there, check it out, put it on the turntable. It's a whole vibe, and you're gonna get something out of it. I do think that this is a great record.
And if you open that vinyl, Dan, open it up.
Yeah,
That
let's
inside
see it.
cover. The
Hold it
people
up
that
close.
I'm talking about who support us, like there's a photo of 10,000 people who have supported us over the years. So like, get the vinyl, go find yourself. It's like where's
All
Waldo?
the yellow. Look at all the bananas in there.
Shout
I
out
can't
to
even
the
see
Closer to the
anything, but,
Sun
like,
family out there.
And that's kind of our homage to the music brings us together line and love for the music, right? Like that's what we're talking about right there. Music brings us together.
I love
Shout
it.
out to the Close to the Sun and Slightly Stupid fam right there, and yeah, the artwork on the album. Appreciate all the love. Thanks,
Hey,
guys.
thanks,
We
guys.
appreciate it. Let us know your favorite song once you listen to the whole thing.